Hey guys! Welcome back to my channel for my daily writing updates. I actually had some progress yesterday. Some progress. To recap, I'm Vivi. I am writing a dark fantasy novel about a disgraced spy who must infiltrate an underground organization in a northern town in order to save her career. In the process, she comes face to face with corrupting forces that threaten to possess the only family she has left, her father, who is also one of the leaders of the nation. And this story is set, think of it as pre-industrial to early industrial era where steam power is just burgeoning. Not quite steampunk. Steampunk is like still way in the future, but getting there. Somewhat. I made some progress yesterday, primarily in outlining. I think you can call it outlining, but in figuring out a bit more and developing this new character that is being introduced at the end of chapter 4, which I've mostly written, and the beginning of chapter 5. So he'll be heavily featured in chapter 5, right? So I developed his character a little more. I already had a pretty good idea of what I wanted him to be, what his connection with my main character would be, because they know each other, right? From before the book, from their past. And basically how he acts. I figured out his fatal flaw, and I figured out what kind of tension I want to have run between him and the main character. Another thing, related to the main plot of Act 1, I have given him an official role in Ellerin's mission. Technically, she's still, because before she is assigned the actual mission, which is to steal the rumored weapon of the underground organization, like discover what it is and steal it, right? She has to prove herself by uncovering the organization's recruiter in the town, and that's her test. She has to do that in order to get the mission. And Leowen, the new character that is being introduced, he's been in town for a while, but he's also Ellerin's friend and mentor. It doesn't quite make sense for him to have been there for so long. Like, what's his excuse, and why doesn't he know who the recruiter is already? Right? I mean, I could do it that way, but I thought it would be more interesting to have him basically be the proctor of her test. So he knows the answer. If Ellerin hadn't been assigned to this thing, he would have been the one who would infiltrate the underground organization to steal the weapon. It's just that his cover is a bit more precarious because he doesn't actually have much of a cover. He would be putting his standing with certain groups at stake if he did what he had to do to infiltrate the organization and steal their weapon. And Ellerin is basically being set up as kind of a fall guy, or basically just like a disposable tool. And I think it would be really interesting to explore that. Right, so I'm gonna write it first, and then I will see how it works, and I'll see how it lands with people, better readers, right? Before I really decide on what I'm gonna do with it. But that's what I did yesterday. And aside from that, I also figured out a bit of what's going to happen in their conversation in the second half of the chapter, I mean, where initially I wanted Leowen to provide Ellerin with a basic overview and information about the town, but with this new development, I feel like it's a bit more exciting to have them clash a little. Elleren's initial expectations upon discovering Leowen is in town will kind of be flipped because Leowen won't really be helping her aside from whatever overview, whatever information he gives her about the town and a couple of warnings. Aside from that, he's basically just going to be there for her to give the answer to and also to like watch her. So I'm gonna work that out still. I'm gonna work on the outline still today. And then I'm going to try to write it like straight out. So I'm really excited. This is really making me more excited. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday in the car, and one of the things that was recommended was that if you have a hard time getting yourself excited about writing again, to figure out what you enjoy reading and then infusing some of that into the story somehow, right? And okay, so I love fluffy relationships, but what I find really interesting to read also is when there are underlying issues and they have to work through them. It's interesting to explore those kinds of relationships and stories and writing. So I do like it. I do like that. And I like characters that are a bit more complex and complicated than whatever stereotype or caricatures there are. Like, I like dualities within characters and relationships, and I like to see them working through all of that. So this just makes me a bit more excited for Leowen. Villain arc, I have to figure out how I want him to come out in this draft for the next chapter. But he's also a fun character, so I'm just really excited to be writing this, and I'm happy to be writing this. So yeah. Updates. Bye.